So this month I am going to be focusing on designing a e-commerce solution for a website that sells eyeglasses, sunglasses, and goggles. So within the rubric, there is a few things that needed to be discussed in the interactivity section: visibility, feedback, constraints, mapping, consistency, and affordances. On most e-commerce sites, there are browse by category and browse by detail options, and on a mobile platform, these can get confusing, in my opinion, because it's hard to differentiate between the different categories. And so I tried hard to lessen the amount of confusion, so to say, by using a visual hierarchy in regards to the links that is shown in the left-hand navigation menu. Uh, the subcategories are eyeglasses, sunglasses, goggles, and then they have those categories have subcategories underneath of them. The left-hand menu also appears from off the canvas, and it pushes the main content off to the right when the left-hand menu comes into scope. Uh, There are small lines in between the different subsections that helps differentiate between them, and I also used a slight outer glow on the right hand side of the left hand navigation menu to help differentiate between the menu and the main content. For the feedback portion of this assignment, I decided that a pop-up message after a user adds an item to the shopping cart was appropriate. Uh, this will help ensure that the user doesn't become confused or worried that an item was not added to the cart. And the two options that the user has in this pop-up message is to continue shopping or to proceed to checkout. The different constraints that are used in the design, like I mentioned earlier, there are sections that are the viewable canvas and unviewable canvas. I like to shorten that to in scope and out of scope. As you can see, this is a design made in Illustrator of the left-hand navigation menu. The green overlay is the viewable canvas, what is in scope, and the red overlay is what is pushed out of scope when the left-hand navigation menu comes into the canvas. For mapping, I decided to make use of a menu button that will bring the left-hand navigation menu into scope, and that is replaced with a left back arrow. I like what Apple does with the left-hand back arrow and menu options within their user interface, and so I tried to keep it similar in the sense to where the same click that brings the menu up will put the menu away. The icon may have changed, but the position has not changed. It's a one-way street either way. It's either going to open or close. It's not going to do anything that would throw the user off. It's very learnable, which is what I like about having the icon in the same place, although the action might change. For consistency, the top nav bar search menu is the same throughout the design, as well as the footer. The design elements are similar within each of the design images that are shown. The product display, the top level is in a regular font, the actual product is in bold, and then the category is in italic, and this is similar throughout the entire design. Speaking about affordances, the menu icon, the search button, the carousel, as well as the shopping cart, I believe that those are all universal icons that are used and universal ideas that are used between modern day applications, especially on the mobile platform. So I decided to use those in this design. For my mobile wireframes, I created a NavFlow test. The instructions were: using the side navigation menu, please browse for women's eyeglasses. Then add silhouette rimless eyeglasses to the shopping cart. Proceed to checkout. In the first step, the two areas that I allowed people to click on were on the top left navigation menu button and then also on the eyeglasses button. The reason I had both of these target areas available is because I had a feeling that when I put this up here that some people were going to click on the eyeglasses. Again, like I discussed in the video before, I want people to be able to get to the same pages going through both the left navigation menu and the main content navigation menu. I don't want to exclusively link certain pages within the site or certain areas of the site to the left and certain areas only to the main. I want everything to be accessible from any level. So, and that had 100% completion rate. The next step was to select the women's eyeglass subcategory item. It looks like someone clicked on eyeglasses, which I should take that as being able to make this a link so people don't become confused, and link this to an eyeglasses page, which then would have the probably just a few of each category listed, and then they'd be able to select the categories on that page. Someone selected sunglasses women. They're probably just glancing through and didn't see that eyeglasses and sunglasses. Maybe make these a bit more pronounced or a bit more easier to understand that these are the header items. And then someone selected lens information. At least they're clicking on the, at least all of these actually are clicking on the menu. I mean, and none are clicking on this side of the page. I wanted this to be visible, but I don't want anybody to think that it's still accessible at this point. As an option to select, you can click here to get back to it, but not to move forward into the site further. Step 3 was to add silhouette rimless to cart. Looks like one person clicked on the slider image. That we could just count that off as being a bored user at this point. Someone selected the silhouette rimless text, which I want to say that I could make this entire area clickable except for the add to cart area to a particular product item page. But in the directions it was add to cart, and this was the only clickable area. And step 4 was to proceed to check out. Everybody who was still in the running clicked on the correct button. I wanted to take some time to talk about the navigation in this design. There are 3 forms of navigation. There's the search option, there's the left-hand navigation menu, and then there is the main content navigation. The left-hand navigation menu goes into a bit more detail than the menu on the main page on the home page. The home page navigation is split up between eyeglasses, sunglasses, prescription, goggles, quick find, and shopping cart. You can get to either of those categories by clicking on the main navigation or on the left-hand navigation. The reason I added the left-hand navigation is so somebody can quickly go in and get a bit more detailed search or browse rather than just clicking on a general category. After looking through the design and getting the usability results back, a few things that I would change, in particular the menu button and the search button on the top. Those icons are contained within black squares. What I'd like to do is get rid of those black squares and just make them a little bit larger. Take away the margin and padding between the eyeglasses.com logo and the container with that. I think it would make it seem a bit less cluttered. I'm not sure how I want to do the how I want to design the actual checkout process yet. I think I'm going to take a look into that when designing the desktop wireframes. Other than that, I'm very happy with how the design looks. I did take some design principles from Apple, from Google, from Apple in particular, the rotating carousel on the homepage. I really like how they design that in their iTunes App Store and Apple Store applications. So I decided to use that within the design. Uh, my favorite part of this design, if I may say so myself, is the successfully added to shopping cart pop-up message. I myself get confused when I am using my phone to purchase products online, and I'm not always sure if when I click on something, what I'm doing is actually taking place in the system. So having that um, pop-up message, I think, is going to be beneficial in the long run.